you could see a lot further. It'd be very important. And then they made another type of compass called a mariner's compass. Okay, these were all good technologies that were created during this time. New weapons. Weapons are important, right? Let's say you're fighting somebody. Do you think when you're exploring you have to fight somebody? Well, let me give you an example. I'm walking in the jungle, and all of a sudden I see this person. They got a tomahawk on their belt, and they're ready, and it looks like they don't want to give up the land. You think you'd have to fight them? Yeah, you would. So what did they have? What did they have? They had this gun. It's called a wheel lock. Look at that gun. They had to bring it with them so they could make people give them what they wanted. All right, I'm going to show you a little video clip about Christopher Columbus. But Christopher Columbus was a famous sailor. You ever heard the song, Columbus sailed the CCC to see what he could see? Okay, so let's learn a little bit more about Christopher Columbus at this point. All right, I'm going to show you a little video to show you about Christopher Columbus. All right, this is a man just speaking from his experience. He'll tell you all about Christopher Columbus. And see, he's actually in Spain to talk about this.
Before Christopher Columbus could set sail, he needed official sponsorship from a throne. He needed some dinero, some hashish, some bling. He needed the kind of cha-ching you could only get from a king, or in this case, a king and a queen. So around the year 1485, Columbus came up with a bold proposal, which is why we find ourselves here in Spain.
I believe that is a statue of Columbus.
Columbus had spent 20 years traveling through Europe trying to meet with any royalty that would listen to his pitch. He had given his medieval PowerPoint presentation to the King of Portugal, possibly as early as 1471, then years later to England and France. Every time he was rejected. Columbus, often traveling with his son Diego, was rejected on multiple occasions in Spain in the 1490s. His idea was too extreme, too risky. The timing was just wrong. Columbus was out of options. What he needed was a miracle. A convent seemed like a good place to find it. When Christopher Columbus knocked on the doors of this place, he was at the lowest point of his entire life. He was penniless, hungry, couldn't even afford food to eat, with his young son Diego in tow.
Think he was
The
worried?
two had been all over Europe, speaking
so.
before kings, looking for money to fund his voyage, to no avail. But it was 2 months from right here that took him in, fed him, and took care of him. But little did Columbus know that these 2 monks weren't your normal monks. They had friends in high places. One of the monks, Father Juan Perez, was a friend and supporter of Columbus. Columbus explained that his last resort was going to be one more meeting with the King of France. But Father Perez decided it was time to use his connections. You see, one of Father Perez's duties was to hear the confessions of the Queen of Spain. Christopher Columbus was allowed entry into the royal court of Spain, where he made his big pitch to the monarchs, Ferdinand and Isabella. But this time things had changed. After 700 years of Islamic domination of Spain, Ferdinand and Isabella had successfully defeated the Muslims, called the Spanish Moors, in a recent battle. They had driven the Moors out of the key port city of Granada down in southern Spain. Peace had broken out across the country, and Spain was unified, and they were in the mood to expand. Columbus got virtually everything he had hoped and prayed for. He had found royal patrons which took care of the financing he needed for ships, supplies, and crews. He had even asked for, if you will.
Okay. That is the end. All right. So did you learn some more about Christopher Columbus? Mm-hmm. All right. So Christopher Columbus got what he wanted because he didn't give up. And that's a good lesson for you. Do not give up. So let's look at Christopher. This is a good picture of Christopher Columbus. Is he older right here?
Yes.
Yeah, he's much older right These are his ships. Do you know the 3 ships for Christopher Columbus, what they were called? And what else? He had another one. The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Yeah, good job. Good job. Okay, this is Christopher Columbus. He had his 3 ships. He wanted his money. He wanted his money, and that was very important. Why do you think money was very important to the lesson? To him, could he afford these ships by himself? No, he probably could. So let's look at Columbus's 4 voyages. This is a map to show his voyages. His first voyage, 1492. He went all the way around Cuba. Look at Cuba. Is Cuba close to us here in Louisiana? Well, look, this is Florida. Yeah. Are we close to Florida? Yes. We are close to Florida. So let's pretend Louisiana's over here, and here's Cuba. So Columbus was very close to us, correct? Yeah. Okay, so here's his first voyage in 1492. What did he find in 1492? Was a group that he mistakenly called the Indies. Okay, so he found these people and called them Indians. That's why a lot of people still call them Indians here. But he came back and eventually realized he was wrong. He never made it to India like he was trying to get. Okay, and you can see he made 3 other voyages around that, 1502 to 1504, and Columbus died in 1506. So you think he was old when he started doing this? He was. He was very old. He was in his 50s, and back then people didn't live very long. You know, you probably heard, you probably had grandparents that passed away or still living in their 70s or 80s, right? But people didn't live back as long back. This is just a map showing you other explorers. Diaz, here's Columbus, Magellan. We're going to talk about Magellan on the next slide. Let's talk about Ferdinand Magellan. Ferdinand Magellan did something nobody else in the world had ever done. He wanted to look at the world and say, hey, it's not that big. I can go around it. He went around the world. You imagine how long that took him? And you know what? He almost did it twice. Twice. So Magellan did a very good thing to go around the world and look at it. All right, look at this. I just want to show you these pictures before we move on and show you. People were moving into the area. They wanted to explore it. All right, tonight for your homework, I want you to find information on an explorer of your choice. For this information, I want you to write a page on the life of the explorer and why they're important to our studies. It's 15 points due tomorrow. Can you do that? Okay. Good job. All right. All right, so let's move on. And I want you to pretend for a second, for this next activity, that you are an explorer. You are an explorer going around the world. So I want you to close your eyes. I want you to close your eyes and pretend you're going around the world. You're in a boat, you're sailing, you land on this island, you don't know what it is, but you land on this island and you say, it smells different here. It smells definitely different. What's different about this place? They may have things on this island that they don't have in Europe. We need to find out what it is. Maybe we could make a lot of money by bringing this stuff back to Europe. I think we could. But first, let's keep smelling. Okay? Open your eyes. Okay. For this next activity, you'll be given 5 cups with random ingredients from around the world. With those 5 cups, I want you to not look into the cup. You're going to close your eyes and smell. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick them, put it under your nose, and bring it back. This is all without looking, okay? And then I want you to think about the 5 items that I showed you. Write down what you think they are, and then we'll talk about what they are, okay? So what I want you to do right now, close your eyes, Pretend that you're an explorer. You're walking around on an island. It's amazing. It's beautiful. And you smell something. Okay? All right. Put it under your nose. Can you smell it? Okay. What do you think that is? Okay, peaches. Okay. Okay, so why don't you write down peaches? Very good. Very good. And then we'll talk about what it actually is. Think about it. Close your eyes again. Let's smell that. Okay, what do you think that one is? Chocolate. Okay, very good. All right.